Hello everybody. So today in the morning 4:13 a.m. Rahu started transiting Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. So till now Saturn of course is in retrograde and it will be in retrograde motion till 14th November, and it started retrograde motion in Aquarius sign by June 30 itself, right, as we discussed in our previous video. And it is like Saturn till now, it is in the phase of waiting. It is waiting for someone to work for it. So when a planet works for Saturn, whenever a planet is transiting Pushyami, Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada, any of these three nakshatras, whenever a planet is in these three nakshatras, that particular planet starts working for Saturn. But when a planet is in Pushyami nakshatra, it works for betterment. Of course, for marriage, Pushyami is not a good nakshatra, but for other things, for development, for working hard and getting a lot of development in the life, this kind of energy is present in Pushyami. Anuradha is something like for friendship, for taking revenge, and also for being loved or to love, this kind of energy. If some energy, some effort is put in this kind of energy, that is Saturn's energy and that is Anuradha's energy. But Uttara Bhadrapada energy is different. It is completely related to spirituality and ending. Spirituality and ending. The Uttara Bhadrapada energy is something like a very big tsunami hiding under the sea, and it breaks up suddenly and it sees the end. And now when Saturn, the retrograde Saturn, is in the sign of Aquarius, where it gives the fruits, the results of the work that is being done by the entire world for the past 30 years, right? So it is trying to give results, it is trying to give fruits of the work that is being done for the past 30 years by the world. It needs some servants. Of course, it doesn't. If it does not have servants, it will try to give the results on its own. It will try to put on the efforts on its own. But when some worker is available, it assigns the work to that worker. And when we say worker is available, when a planet is transiting Saturn's nakshatras like Pushyami, Anuradha and Uttara Bhadrapada, you say there is some worker available for Saturn. So here Saturn is trying to give its own results, right? Trying to give the results to the world, whatever the world has done for the past 30 years. And at the same time, see, when Saturn alone wants to give results, the work of Saturn is very slow and systematic. Very slow, very, very organized, systematic, slow and steady approach Saturn follows. But here, Saturn is getting a worker like Rahu, because Rahu is transiting Uttara Bhadrapada. So Saturn is getting a worker like Rahu now. And when the worker opened its slot, the Rahu opened its slot today at 4:13 a.m. in the morning. So what is the work of Saturn here? Saturn wants to give the fruits of the work that is being done by the whole world for the past 30 years. That has been done by the whole world for the past 30 years, and what kind of work the world did for the past 30 years. If you observe, the work is not at all good. Not at all good because if you observe the happiness index, the kind of food the people are eating, the kind of living style people have, mainly, so instead of telling so many things in one sentence, we can say the work done by the whole world for the past 30 years actually disconnected the people from the nature. And this is against God's wish, completely against God's wish, because God wants everyone to be part of the nature. Everyone to be part of the nature, and God doesn't want the people to hurt the nature. But whatever work for the past 30 years done by the world is actually disconnected the people from the mother nature. How? Just imagine the air conditioners, what they did, they make the people to live in the rooms only, and they are not allowing the people. Of course, if people want to go outside, they can go, but what is the temperature? Why the temperatures are increasing? Because of the so many electronic gadgets invented by people, and why they released in the market. See, when air conditioner is invented, they know, they were very much clear that this is going to harm the environment, but still they released. Why? Out of their ego, out of their pride, whatever, that they wanted to show they invented something great, and they wanted to show that to the world. But what happened to the nature? And they invented mobile phone, and what mobile phone did? It killed so many birds. And the cars and so many other vehicles. Of course, invention is good, but when invention is harmful to the nature, that invention must be stopped. But yes, they released. So it is a kind of crime only, but a hidden crime. It is called as hidden crime. And mobile phones and also even the computers release lot of heat, right? And that heat harms the nature. And just observe, the temperatures are rising all over the world. Why? It's because of the human inventions only. The inventions that are, not all the human inventions are bad for the nature, but some of the inventions, they are bad for the nature. The humanity must have stopped it, but it did not do that. So it's a kind of hidden crime. So Saturn, you remember, if you see astrology literature, in the initial days of the astrology journey itself, you might have known that Saturn acts as a judge. Saturn gives the judgment, right? So here Saturn, after 30 years, it is in the Aquarius sign, in the final phase of Aquarius sign, in the retro motion. Very powerful Saturn, right? So totally, now Saturn has got some worker like Rahu. What is Rahu? Basically, Rahu is a kind of person who can achieve the task by cheating or by hook or crook, by any means. He will achieve that task. Let us say Saturn got a worker like Jupiter. Jupiter may double think. If he is given a work, he thinks based on the rules. If this particular work is following some rules or not, if this work is ethical or not. So this kind of thinking Jupiter has. If Mars is given some work, he can try to do the work by some force, and he also thinks about ethics sometimes, right? And any other planet, if Mercury is given some work he tries to do in some entertainment way, right? So some entertaining way. And other planets, if Ketu is given some work, he thinks that he is a master of that work and he would be detached. He would feel he is detached with that work, and but still he performs that work. It's a kind of, uh, it's a kind of time pass kind of work energy you can see when Ketu is given some work. And if Venus is given some work, he tries to beautify. It tries to beautify the work, right? So like this, various planets, the way they do work is completely different. And when Rahu is given some work, he first prefers cheating. By cheating also he wants to achieve that work, right? He doesn't want to follow ethics to do that work, but he wants to follow some cheating, some kind of Maya impact he gives to the people, and he achieves the task. And what kind of task would be given to the Rahu now? Rahu may not cheat Saturn because Rahu and Saturn are friends, but still, here Saturn is, but here Saturn has more say, and whatever, even if he tries to, cheat Saturn, he cannot do that. Rahu cannot do that because Saturn is the master here, Rahu is the worker, right? Saturn is the master here, Rahu is the worker. So Rahu would not try to cheat the Saturn. The work given is going to be completed by hook or crook. So Rahu shows the cheating tendency to accomplish the work, but not in cheating Saturn, that is for sure. Because Saturn is the master here. And Saturn wants to give the punishment after 30 years. And especially Saturn is also transiting Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Purva Bhadrapada is, you can see, as completely, the strategic cheating and poisonous and two-sided tendency. These are all present in Purva Bhadrapada, right? And we will try to make a video on Purva Bhadrapada and Uttara Bhadrapada in future, but this is a very, very important period for the whole world, that Rahu is assigned the work of giving punishments. And so the better thing everybody can follow is, in order to avoid the disturbances, the chaos, of course, it's not like you're going to avoid the outside disturbances. It's the final result Saturn is trying to give, it is going to give for sure. But the thing is, if you don't want to be affected with this kind of, outside events news, you would be hearing a lot of news that so and so leader is punished, so and so leader is assassinated, so and so leader, the political leader, right, is completely bankrupted, right? Or so and so leaders, they are fighting with each other, so and so countries are fighting with each other, new fights are starting, and these fights are erupting, and the kind of the wars that are happening, they're going to the next stage. So this kind of news you would be hearing a lot till 14th November. So if you want to avoid hearing this kind of news, don't follow news channels for some days, because they are going to be very, very, very much disturbing. And maybe your beloved leader, you don't know, the leader may be, he is your favorite, but he might have done some mistakes, so he have to be punished at this point of time. No other go, right? So people can actually escape from so many planets, but they cannot escape from Saturn. They cannot escape from Saturn. And when Saturn is in retro motion, he is very powerful, he is very slow and steady in giving the results. And the result is something like when a person is already having some 200 kgs of weight on his head, Saturn, without any kindness, without any concern, he would put again some 1000 kg of weight on the head without any mercy, because that is the punishment. The kind of punishment Saturn gives is in that way only, because he says, see, you took some money from the bank, something like 20 lakhs you took. Who has to pay? You have to pay. That is your karma balance. You have to pay. That is the way Saturn thinks. So there is no escape. There is no escape for any leader. There is no escape from any person who has done all the bad deeds in the past 30 years. He has to pay for it. The person can be rich or he can be a great leader in the world. Whatever he might be, he would not be able to escape. It's a big punishment period for all the world, and if you have done some good deeds in the past 30 years, you can enjoy your time. That is also for sure, because Saturn is also ready to give very good fruits for all the people that did something good for the past 30 years. So thanks for watching this video. We will meet in our next video soon.